to the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra. I hope that you are having a terrific, sunshiny day. I feel like spring is around the corner, and the weather has definitely been telling us that spring is around the corner. I don't know if it's getting a little warmer where you are, but we've definitely been seeing a lot more sun and warmer temperatures, so super excited about that. And today we are going to be joined by Ada. She is a Polish verb fluencer, and she works with parrotplanet.pl, which is the largest, I think, parrot online store in all of Poland. She's also written different books on parrots and parrot behavior. She has her own toy line called Parrot Disaster, and she has a very diverse flock of her own. She's got a lot of birds, and we're going to chat with her about training and diet and foraging and some fun parrot facts and just so much more. She's got an African gray, which is a powder bird, so I'm keen to know about her experiences having an African gray, and Jardines. I hope I'm saying that right. And she's got a few different Jardines in her flock as well. So we're going to chat with her about what it's like to have such a big flock at home and pick her brain on all things parrots. So let's jump in and talk with Ada. Awesome. I have my coffee in my little toucan mug. We've got tea, we've got water, and we are ready to jump in. Ada, I'm so excited to have you on the Parrot Podcast. Welcome. So my first question to get us started is, to everybody who's listening, tell us about your flock and how many birds you have, their species, their names, and their ages.
All right, so we have 6 parrots, so it will be a long answer. First was Buba. She is a Jardine parrot, a lesser one. She's 7 years old in 2 weeks. She doesn't have a part of her leg. That's why I adopted her in the aviary when I was working. It was an accident. Her leg band was crushed into the mesh, and the whole foot was in pieces. So she had 4 amputations, and she was very scared of guys because a guy was a veterinarian, and she was into women more. Right now it's great. That's why, because of this accident and because of those birds who tried to kill her, I didn't want to take another parrot, but I did eventually, and 6 more. Yes, with her it was very dramatic, and that was my first parrot, so I made many mistakes. Second parrot, it's like the twin. It's Kaiko and Coco, also Jardine parrots. The greater one, they will be 3 years old this year. I call them monkeys, because they are like flying demons. I've never saw such crazy parrots as those. I know why they were adopted because nobody can be prepared for this type of chaos, nobody.
Oh my gosh.
Like the screaming, the noise, what they can do with all the things, they can just play around the doors, the furniture, the ceilings. They can hang up from the ceiling. I don't know how. So yes, these are demons. The fourth is Aria. She will be also 2 years old. That was also a dramatic story because she was adopted with clipped wings, without a tail, and she was a little savage because she was scared of humans. And when you were given a food to them, to her, she was like hissing, and you have to stand from a meter away from her. Right now, she's my lovely queen. Really lovely queen. She is every day coming to me to get some scratches, and this is my biggest thing I did with parrots here. I'm so happy about her. Then was Carol, African Grey. He's in my age, 31. So we are just like partners.
Oh, That's so cute. How long do African greys
Yes,
live for?
like 60, can be 80 even. So I wish we could get all together. I hope so, but I'm not sure because the first 30 years of his life, they were not so good. He had a great home, probably with a guy, but this guy died. And he was with this lady who was living there. And she didn't like Carol, so she closed him in the small cage without water and giving him only peanuts and sunflower seeds. So his liver was destroyed when he came to me. This issue with water was also so dramatic because this lady who was keeping him, she told that, oh, he was throwing away the bowl of the water. So I started just giving him a water. He was just given to make a sip and she was taking it away. When Carol come to us, he was like attacking me when I wanted to change the water bowl. Like 2 weeks later, he realized that I am always giving back this water. So right now it's great, but sometimes, oh, okay, it's still like some behavior he has. He likes to throw away the water bowl, so he has to have a very heavy one.
Oh my gosh.
And the last one is Fiona. Fiona is brown-winged Pionus parrot. Aria is a blue-headed Pionus parrot. I didn't say that. And Fiona is brown-winged, and she is 5 years old. And she was also adopted, like all my parrots. She was very hormonal. She had an implant. She was treating her toys in a very sexual way. And the previous owners, they couldn't stop making her doing that. Even the implant didn't help. So right now she is in the flock. She is better. Still, she can be hormonal, but she learned to forage finally after first month. She was waiting in the cage for food and waiting for the food. She didn't know how to forage. Right now, she is great at foraging. So I hope she's no better. So this is my flock. 6 adopted, crazy, dramatic parrots. That's why we are a parrot disaster.
Though that all makes sense now. Why it's called Parrot Disaster. Your toy line is called Parrot Disaster, and your Instagram page, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's our flock.
This brings me, so my next question is, how far apart did you adopt each of them? Like, did you adopt them all kind of like close together, or was it years or months in between each adoption?
First was Buba, and she was with me for 3 years old, alone with me. But I was so scared to take another parrot. You know, the flock in the aviary wanted to kill her, and she was unconscious without this part of her food. So she was very nervous around birds. Like she could attack a macaw, and she did. And that kind of nervous, yes. Because when I was working in aviary, I tried to make her socialize more with birds. And if some bird was, for example, sick, need to go to the vet, I was taking that bird to my home, and she was socializing with those birds. Once we had a macaw with broken wing, and I was taking her to the vet, and she was sleeping in our house, and Buba attacked her, a macaw. So it was no fear for her. She was that scared that she didn't think even about the size of the parrot or anything. And she was attacking all the parrots I was bringing home. But it was getting less and less. So I decided maybe one day, maybe, but not yet. But after 3 years being alone with me, I was taking her to my university, to work every day, everywhere, because she was sitting alone for like 12 hours even sometimes. So I decided to take her with me. But then my ex-fiance appeared, and she got depressed. She didn't want to go out from her place, her playground area. She stopped eating. Her father started to be in black, more black. And I was so scared that she will start blocking herself finally. So I decided, all right, it's time for a second parrot. And we had a very big luck because like 60 kilometers away from us, there was a boy, a Jardine boy. So we took him. At first glance, it was amazing. She was into him, he was into her. It seemed to be perfect. But Rico, he escaped. That's why I'm not talking about him. He was a part of the flock, and he was younger than her, and he really wanted to play, really. And she was so scared of him. She didn't know that why he wants to play, what is playing, what is he doing to her, and she panicked every time. So Rico started to be aggressive to her. So we had a problem. Everyone is saying, "Oh, took another parrot. You've got two parrots. It's always better than having one." Yeah, maybe, but it's not so easy. And no one is talking about what is going on in the house when you took the second parrot.
Yeah.
We had that problem because Buba, when I was going out, Buba was sitting on the chairs under the table all day because she was so scared to go out because Rico was there. So I had to separate them. But then my friend told me that she wants to adopt her two boys, Jardines boys. And I said, oh, okay, we will take them. And then that was a great time. We had 4 Jardines. Rico started to play with boys and left Buba alone. And Buba had that place to watch maybe what guys are doing, not interact, but only watch. And that was perfect. And then Rico escaped. So Buba was first. 3 years later was Rico. And after 2 years of this unfortunate bonding with Rico and Buba, I took Kaiko and Kokosh, my boy. And then it was better, but Rico escaped. So when I was with those boys and Buba, I realized that boys, okay, they are good, but they do not interact with Buba. So I decided to take another parrot just to make maybe a bigger flock. Maybe she will eventually find someone to like. So we took Arya like 1 month after Rico escaped. And then it was like some kind of right. Month later was Carol, African Grey, and month later it was Fiona. Like a lot of people just asked me, "Hey, do you maybe want to adopt my bird because I'm not getting good with him?" And I was like, "Give it to me. I will take him.
Give them all to me."
So yes. And right now we've got 6, and this is absolutely enough for this apartment. I am done.
Yeah, they're taking over your apartment, and I can see it in the background.
Yes, that's crazy. That's really crazy. I was just wondering today, what did I do with my life?
Yeah. I think that every parrot owner, once they grow a big flock, they start to ask themselves, why did I make these decisions?
Yes, and how? How?
Yeah, when did this even happen? I wanted to ask you about Baba. Did I say his name right?
Yes.
When he
Buba.
attacked the macaw, Booba.
Yes. Yes.
When he
Buba.
attacked the macaw, was the macaw in a cage, or they were out in
No.
your apartment?
Yes. Because it was she was out, and she was after the surgery with this broken wing, and I had to change the bandage.
Yeah.
So I took her to the bed, and Buba just realized that the bed belongs to her, so no other bird can sit on the bed. So she flew into that macaw and started, rushing with wings, screaming, and the macaw got scared. I got scared. Oh my gosh, that was dramatic. But
Oh
yes,
my
she can
gosh.
attack macaw, and that was that not only once. When I was working in aviary, I was taking her with me to my job, and I had a macaw, harlequin macaw. So you can imagine how big is that parrot. And my
Yeah.
booba is like the half size of this beak that this harlequin macaw has. But my booba has no problem with attacking this bird.
Oh my gosh. So did you get to a point where you realized that Booba doesn't like other birds, so I need to keep Booba separated so that Booba isn't hurting other birds and potentially getting hurt themselves? Because if a macaw got angry at Booba and fought back, then something could have really happened to Booba.
Yes, yes, yes. And I didn't even think about that. That kind of parrot, small one, would want to attack a macaw. I didn't know that. I was my first years of working with parrots, and now I know that the size doesn't matter. It's just the personality. I saw green cheek connors attacking Moluccan cockatoos. I saw lorikeets attacking cockatoos. I saw when the green cheek connors could even kill bigger parrots. So I know that the size doesn't matter, that personality is the most important thing, because the small bird can be just like the big one if he's angry. And
Yeah.
what I saw also that the small birds like lorikeets or green cheeks can just attack in the pack. They don't attack alone. They can make a pack and then attack one bird.
Oh
So
my God.
I didn't know that my booba was that traumatized. I know that she was, but I didn't want her to be alone with me, because when my ex-fiance just came up, I saw that I cannot make that time for her. We were spending all my years together, like you said. I said on the university, my job. I was taking her on my vacation. Uh, she was even swimming with me in the Baltic Sea. She was on the harness on my head, and I was like, not much water, but I wanted to go to water, and she was sitting on my head, and I was like, "Booba, we are pirates." She was everywhere with me, but I couldn't make that time for her for that long. I wanted to have my own life, so I had to do something to make her not be that much traumatized as she was. And right now it's 3 years
Mm-hmm.
with bigger flock, but 2 years in the very big flock. She was with Rico, but I am counting like she's now in the flock, and now it's very much progress. I see that in more birds, the more she is open, the more she is brave, and yes, I think that is the most important thing. She had to be brave enough to interact with them, because before she was that unsure that maybe some bird will attack her or make something to her, that she was not even starting the interactions. She was that afraid that she stopped thinking about anything about the second bird. So when I saw that she had that time to watch my birds, watch the flock, what they are doing, what they're playing, even the sounds. See, I didn't know the Jardine sounds until I've got Kaiko and Kokosh. Buba doesn't have that sound of the species. She had something like, "Scream, I'm gonna kill your head." This is that kind of scream. And
A
yeah,
Jardine has that kind of sound?
no, she has. She doesn't know the sound of her species. So when Kaiko and Kokos appeared, they started to, talk in their language, and Buba starts to listen. And I saw that she is connecting something in her mind, like, okay, this sounds like it means this. This sound means this, and she even started to talk to them like in her own strange language, but she started to talk to them. So it's like, okay, she wanted to interact. And yesterday she was sleeping on the same swing as boys. So this is the biggest, thing she ever made. on the same swing with other parrots. Like
That's
you've got
progress.
that's 20 centimeters away from the other parrots. It's been 3 years. That's a long time. And this is very hard because she's really, really stubborn. She was panicking alone every time. I've got many ideas about how to make this place for her too. And you see, this is the area for birds, and here is the area for her that can be close to
Oh.
us, but she can watch them here. Also, she have the playground on the corridor, so she's like close to the flock. But when she wants to go out, she can go out and have some peace. Like she's not used to have the still contact with other birds, so she sometimes needs to go. She's going to the closet, and then she's sleeping, and when she's done and she wants to interact, she comes to the living room. So I left her a choice when she want to be with us and when she don't want to be with us, and I saw that giving her that choice made the biggest progress.
Yeah, I think that actually offering our pets choices is so important for them to be able to choose, to have that independence. And I've talked about this
Mm.
in the past, how I always give our dog choices. I give Mia choices. Like I let them choose what they want to do, or even like when it comes to meals, like if if we're training, like I'll let her choose her treats sometimes. If I'm feeding
Yeah, yeah.
Lambo, our dog, I'll let him choose. Do you want beef today or do you want lamb today? So I think it's important to offer them choices so that they can have that independence and really be able to have that like sense of self of like, I get to choose
Yes,
what
yes.
I want.
I see that every time on my consultations. It's I think the biggest issue that people that don't understand that parrots have to have this independence. And what we do at home, we get the food. You've got the food here, always the
Yeah.
same. You cannot choose anything here.
Yeah.
You go to cage, that's not your choice. You want a bath, sometimes it's even not the choice of the parrot. I've got this problem very often, and I was thinking, what is going on with this bath? Of course, people use the spray with water to punish parrots. That's the first thing. But also, we do not offer the ability to bath. We just took the spray and okay, it's time for bath. And what we have to do is just to make this environment ready for the bath. And I was teaching one cockatoo 2 years ago how to bath, and that was amazing seeing that cockatoos eventually open up because I made a music video like rainforest, like some noises from the storm, and I was going with that spray, but I was not watching and looking at the parrot at all. I was just going with the spray. I was imagining that I am in the rainforest. And finally, that cockatoo, seeing us doing this 1, 2, 3, 4 time, decided to bath. And that was her choice, not mine. I was just offering these conditions to bath. And this is the most important thing. We don't have to make parrot do anything. We cannot, because it will be sooner or later some problems. I don't have cages. Yes, it would be very good when you are not working at home, just like me, or you have like TVs and other stuff that can be eaten or destroyed by parrots. But when I see that my parrot doesn't have cage, I see that they are free as much as they can be free in the captivity. Sometimes we also have aviary, like in the balcony. So sometimes I open the balcony and I'm saying, okay, do you want to go out or not? And in the winter, they want to go out. I don't want to open that balcony, but they scream and they want to go out. And so I open the door and they go have fun in the snow. But this is their choice, not mine.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in the blankets and getting cold because they are outside.
Yeah, and your balcony, you have like a netted area, so they obviously can't escape. For anybody who's listening, you have a net that goes from the top and all the
Yes,
way down. And then
yes,
you have
yes,
perches set up so that they can go outside and enjoy the sunshine and the fresh
yes.
air. Yeah. Yeah, I
In
love
the
this because it is really important for them to have choices. I mean, we get to choose what we eat, what we drink, when we go to sleep, when we have a shower, and
yes,
our
yes.
birds, our pets are also individuals, and we need to treat them as such and make sure that we're offering them those choices as well. So I love
Uh,
that. Awesome. And because we were talking so much about Booba, Booba is a
yes,
Jardine parrot, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes,
And I wanted to ask that I wanted to go back to what you were mentioning in the beginning. You said that when you first had Booba, you were bringing other birds home and caring
yes.
for them. Were you fostering these birds before they went to like a better home, or what was your role with these birds?
We were working in ivory that people could come to this ivory,
Oh,
and
okay.
of course we've got that small hospital in our area, but it was very difficult for the workers to take care of the birds in the ivory, taking care of the clients. So I was saying, okay, if you don't have time, I can bring that parrot home. If I have 2 days off,
Okay.
I can just take this parrot for 2 days. Change bandages or add some droplets or
Droplets?
the, yes,
Medicine?
droplets. Yes, droplets to ice. So we got that issues too. So I was just taking care of them for like few days, and they were coming back to the
Okay.
ivory. And my booba has still this contact with them.
So my question with that is, because I think that anybody who's listening might be wondering, is whenever you're bringing another bird home and you have a bird at home, you always want to take them to the vet to get disease tested, do blood work, make
Yes,
sure they're healthy. And then once you get the green light from the avian vet that they're healthy, it's
yes.
still recommended to do a quarantine and keep the birds separate because avian diseases, as we know, can spread very fast. So what were you doing to ensure that Booba doesn't get sick or, get something from any of these birds that you were bringing home to care for them?
It was more like injuries, not like infections, bacterial
Oh,
infections
okay.
or viruses infections. It was like, broken leg, like broken wing
Okay.
with this macaw. Some birds have problems with eyes, like it was small infection in the eye because it was a wound in the eye. So I knew that Buba cannot have that
Okay.
because that wasn't virus. And she was also from this aviary. I was adopting her from this aviary.
Okay.
So she was with those other birds. Of course, I tested birds on the PBFD. Every bird that is coming to our flock is tested. Also, we provide some kind of hotel for birds. We also want the bird to be tested before coming with other birds. I also really want that disinfection. I always wash my dreadlocks
Yeah.
or even just to have something on my head that I didn't have to wash my dreadlocks. I change always clothes, shoes, and everything. And before coming home from other aviaries, I always get washed just to be
Yeah.
sure that my birds are okay.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so since we're talking about Booba, I wanted to ask you one more question in regards to him being traumatized, because you talked about how he was really traumatized and it took you so many years to make progress with him through his trauma. So for the people that are listening and they've adopted a bird or they're in the process of adopting a bird who has trauma, what are your like top tips of how to work with a bird that has trauma and help them through the trauma?
First of all, we have to observe the parrot and realize how big that trauma is, because you can think that, oh, this bird is afraid of something, but it can be really traumatized of something. And this first thing we have to do is to observe, just to be slow and not rush and not do things that we wanted to do. Just like more give parrots opportunity to, okay, do you want a food maybe, or do you want to be in the cage? Okay, be in the cage, I will leave you alone. That is very important. But sometimes birds got trauma, like not from people, but from being neglected, just neglected,
Yeah.
left alone for years, just like Carol was left alone. Um,
How long was Caro
he,
left alone?
3 years. He was sitting 3 years in that cage that he could not even open his wings without water. I don't know how he's not plucked. I don't know how he's not nervous. He's like really amazing bird. He's very brave, very open, energetic. He's very like he likes to contact with people. I don't know how is that possible after those years, those 3 years that we know that he was caged because 3 years ago this owner died, and that lady was sitting with him for 3 years, and she didn't even want to give him back to like to living room to have contact with him. She just pushed him away to another room like the old toy from old husband.
Oh my gosh.
So trauma can be very different.
Yeah.
Buba was traumatized of birds, and I had to give her that chance to give her space. She was deciding, okay, I want to be 1 meter away from one parrot, or I want to be in another room because I don't want to be in that room with this parrot. So you have to see how birds react for your decisions, and then you have to left bird for making his own decisions. And this is, I think, the most important thing, because when we treat the parrot in the way that we want to be treated, like another sensitive, emotional being, then we have the chance to be successful. But when we think that parrot is like a stupid bird, there is a Polish saying that if someone has a bird's brain, it's stupid. That's really sad. And a
Yeah.
lot of people think that birds are stupid. And they are even less intelligent than dogs or cats. And what a surprise! And so when we give the parrot this opportunity to have that emotions, the space for those emotions, and we understand what is going on, we are slow with this building trust, and we are not rushing. I think then we have this chance to be successful with parrots.
Yeah, I think you make a lot of really good points because we have to have a really slow approach, especially when you're bringing a new bird home. We get so excited and we
Mm,
want them to interact with us right away, and we want them to
yes,
love us, and we want to be able to hold them in our
yes,
hands and do all of these different things. But that's why we talk about this. It's because parrots are very complex, they're very intelligent, and scientists and people that are out on the field that are studying these parrots, they have realized that parrots have the intelligence of like a 5-year-old, even a 5-year-old human
yes,
child. So, they are very smart and they understand a lot and they learn very quickly. They pick things up very quickly. And so, even though when we bring a bird home and we want to interact with them right away, that to them is scary, especially because they are prey animals. They're not predators.
yes,
So when you come at them
yes,
really quickly and you're excited, it's a lot for them.
yes.
And so they can freak out, they can bite, they can retreat, they might not want to come out of their cage. And so I love the points that you made, that we need to be really patient with them. We need to look at them as these individuals who are very smart, and we need to take things slow. We need to give them those choices in order to build trust and to bond with them. And another thing I want to add in there is diet, because
Oh,
especially when we're adopting or
that's a
rescuing birds,
that,
yeah, diet
yes,
is so
that's a long topic.
important. And it's important for their health. It's important for their feathers. It's important for their minds. It's important for them physically. It's important for behaviors and for so many different things,
Yes.
which reminds me, you were talking how Cattle, your African gray, was being fed
Yes.
peanuts and seeds for 3 years.
Yes.
And when he came to you, his liver was destroyed. So
Yes.
can you share with us, how did you do diet conversion with Cattle to get him off of peanuts and seeds? And what did you do to help him get his liver back to functioning in a good way?
Mm, that was easier than I was thinking it will be. Because I knew about those 3 years on peanuts and sunflower seeds, but I knew anything about those 27 years before. So when I was starting to giving him a lot of fruits, because I always start with fruits, they are sweet. So we started with
Birds
fruits.
love fruit.
Yes, and he was very, yes, I really love them. Apples, of course, oranges, of course, everything I was giving him, that was great. But fruits. And I was thinking, all right, so you want to have fruits because you had to have fruits in your life. So I started to bake some veggies, like sweet potato, like carrots, broccoli, and we started to bake them. They are sweeter, of course, when they are baked. And he started to eat them. It was like transitions about 2-3 weeks when he started to do that. But that was not the final act, because all my parrots eat chopped food, blended with sprouting seeds. So giving him whole pieces of food, it's okay, but it will not be enough. So then I was started to giving him smaller and smaller pieces. Of course, sometimes he got the bigger pieces of fruits or veggies. Still, he's having that because I see that he enjoys them. But when he saw that my flock eats the chopped food, he was very frustrated that he doesn't have that. So I came to him with the bowl. It was his first time when he saw chopped food. And as I got this bowl to a living room, and all the birds was on me, just there's good food here. And Carol was sitting with he's giggling because he's saying some words, but he's more like giggling something like a toddler. So he was just screaming something like, come here, come here. And I came to him with this chopped food. He looked at it and immediately started eating. And what I was thinking, that the flock gives him that kind of power. And I saw the same with my other birds, because Buba, she didn't like that kind of food too, because when she was alone with me, she was eating fruits and no other things. So when I wanted to convert her, I was just giving food to the rest of the flock, and she was watching. And that is a very good concept, because parrots are very envy. They are egoistic.
Jealous.
They are selfish. Yes. So
Okay.
you have to make this motivation grow. If the bird is seeing that some other bird has something great and good, this bird want it too. It's like children having sweets. You have sweets, I want sweets too. So as we are saying, birds are like 5-year-old child, and we doesn't understand that. I think on my consultations and what I see on the internet and groups and so on, we don't understand what does it mean to be intelligent. Like, how many intelligent animals do you know? Like, very intelligent. So it's monkey, dolphin, elephant, raven. But how many of these animals you have ever interact with?
Exactly.
Like, average Kowalski never ever interact with monkey, elephant, or even a raven. Maybe some people just saw like raven in the wild, maybe help that raven if it was injured, but there's not that kind of interaction I'm talking about. So when we bring home a very intelligent bird, intelligent animal, we are thinking about, okay, dogs, cats, guinea pigs, canaries. Like
Rabbits,
this is our,
ferrets.
yes, ye- yes, this is our thinking. Like, okay, it can be intelligent, but let's just be human, right? We are the most intelligent, and no other animal can be intelligent as us. Okay, but we don't even understand how this intelligent work, because there is not like intelligence math. 2 + 2 = 4. No, we are talking about emotional intelligence. We're talking about flock intelligence. These creatures are like ours, like us. Like we are living in the groups, in the families. We have connections with a lot of people, and this is making us healthier, right? With birds, is the same. So when I see when on my consultations there is only one bird, and 95% of my consultations are birds kept alone, and all my consultations are mostly the same because all their problems are the same. Parrot doesn't know how to be a parrot. Uh, Parrot doesn't know how to feel. Parrot doesn't know the place in the flock because the owner is giving the parrot the misunderstanding like behaviors. Sometimes the owner is treating parrot like a partner,
Dog.
touching the parrot.
Or yeah.
Yes, touching the parrot like
Yeah.
in sexual way. And the other time you want to be that you want the parrot to be shut out. So the parrot got very mixed informations from the human
Yeah.
flock. And this is the biggest problem because we know that parrots learn, but parrots learn from our behavior. Parrots
Yeah.
know what we are doing. They predict our moves, they predict our behaviors. So if the parrot is learning, why are not we learning?
Yeah. And I like that you said that because a lot of times people will not do enough research and educate themselves on having a parrot or what parrots are like. And they see these beautiful, talking, flying, wonderful pets and they bring it into their home. And then they're thinking that, oh, I can train it just like a dog or I can treat it like a cat. Or sometimes, like you mentioned, they treat them like a partner, but they don't realize that they're doing that because they don't know, because they haven't done the research. So for anyone who's listening,
Yes.
if you're not aware, when you are stroking or petting a parrot on their back, on their wings, you are stimulating their hormones. And basically, you're making them horny. And they're going to view you as their partner. And then that's where like aggression comes from or attacking other people. And so we don't realize
Territorial
sometimes,
behaviors. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
we
Yes.
sometimes don't realize that we are creating some of these behaviors. But before we run away from all of this,
Yes.
I wanted you to share how you helped restore Carl's liver.
Well, so we was giving him to drink this supplement, Silivet. It's from the milk thistle.
Oh yeah.
He was drinking this for like he's now still drinking it. I still giving Silivet to my birds. What avian doctor once said to me that birds in the captivity will never have a very healthy liver because we are giving them the food that will never be the same, like in the nature. So I'm giving Silivet to my birds like for a month. Then I have a pause like for 2 or 3 weeks, and then again I'm giving the Silivet.
Do you give it every day?
For 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I am making a pause for 2 or 3 weeks, and in the
Okay.
cycles. I'm
So
doing
it's
this in the
every day for
cycles.
2 weeks, and then you take a pause
Yes,
for 2, 3 weeks, and then you
yes.
start again. Okay. And this is a tea or
Oh,
it's like a liquid that you put in their water?
is the liquid I'm putting in the water,
Okay.
but pulse in the pulse cycles, my parrots are not having only water. I am making a lot of herbs, a lot of flower, like
Yeah.
like dandelion.
Yeah,
They drink
dandelion.
dandelion, or Yes, or some other flowers, because herbs are very, very important for parrot health. And
Yeah.
we have many herbs, thyme, oregano. My parrots have almost everyday access to that herbs, because
Mhm.
herbs has those chemicals inside them that can help the liver regrow. So I also have Pionus parrots. So in my parrot diet, there's a lot of flowers too. In the season, we every day have flowers. My parents live in the village, so my mother is collecting a lot of flowers, seeds and grains and everything from the village, and she's given this to us. So I think the most important thing is like herbs, because they are very helpful, and a lot of people doesn't know that.
Yeah.
This milk thistle, and Carol doesn't have sunflower seeds in the raw way. I'm giving the sunflower seeds only sprouted, not
Okay.
raw. And
Yeah.
when I was giving him a nuts, like walnuts, I also in the walnut was putting vitamins or some droplets of silivet or vitamin D, and the whole nut just was with the Zbomba extra vitamins, because when I was giving him walnuts, I saw that he is very into this. So I
Yeah.
decided maybe this is can be a good way to give him some more vitamins,
Yeah.
you know,
Clever.
like like to help. And this idea works with our flock always. I sometimes I just put the shells of the walnuts and took away the walnut and put something else inside, like, you know, scrambled banana
Yeah.
or pellets or something else. And then I put a little bit of those walnuts in that shell and some vitamins. Oh, come on, you've got walnuts with extra ingredients inside them. Um,
That's
this works
awesome.
perfect.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's a really clever way to get those vitamins in, especially if you need to include, certain supplements or herbs into your bird's diet. But as you mentioned, herbs and flowers are very important to include in their diet, and sprouts. Sprouts and microgreens are fantastic because I think they
Yes,
have like 100 times the nutrients or something. So including those are, I think,
yes.
also really important. But with flowers and herbs, I know that a lot of people usually struggle, especially when they introduce something new. Their birds don't always want to eat it. And we talked about diet
Hmm.
conversion earlier, and you mentioned like starting with fruit or mixing things in with fruit. I've also suggested to people before, like you can cook sweet potato or you can mash banana and you can like mix it in with,
Yeah.
the fresh veggie chop or with pellets. And then that's a way
Or
for them.
even with the seeds.
Yeah.
At first, it can be only seeds and make just like a nutri-berry from the
Yeah.
potato, mashed
Yeah.
potato.
There's so many different ways. Like we can
Um,
offer veggies cooked, or we can offer them chunky chopped or like very finely diced. And there's so many different ways. But with flowers and herbs, not every bird is going to be like, oh, I want to eat this. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time to introduce them to new things. But with your flock,
I
yeah,
mm, I was thinking about those plants, for example. Like you see, we've got something here,
yeah,
and in the season we've got many herbs and grains and everything. But when I first started bringing those kind of plants to home, my birds were just like, ah, what's that? What is going on? I don't want to know this. It's strange. Like,
yeah,
well, take it away from me.
yeah,
So my concept was I had that ground with those seeds, and when I was watching my birds, I realized that they are more interested in the seeds in the ground than in the plant that is growing on. So we started to make sprouting seeds and bring them to the ground, and they were just growing like microgreens and then a plant. They are in very big rush because they are eating those sprouting seeds from the ground, and they do not let the flower grow, but they are eating this, and that's the most amazing thing. Sometimes I have to keep some herbs like in the other room, and when they are big enough, I just bring them to the living room, because my parrots also love eating leaves, like mint leaves. Oh, they smell so good after that. But sometimes I don't have time to grow those plants because my parrots will eat them first. So I saw also that this works good with those birds like cockatiels, rosellas, budgies, that bring the ground to like some box, something like that, and put to the ground seeds and let them grow. Sometimes birds will get interested more in those seeds growing up than in the greeny leaves or greeny parts of the plants. So in the Australian birds, it's a very easy way to make birds, introduce to them new sprouting seeds or new sprouting even herbs, grains, and whatever. Because if they don't eat that, the plant will grow, and maybe they will eat that plant. You don't know that. So you have to still give them a choice. Maybe you want a sprouting seed, or maybe you want a microgreens, or maybe you want some leaves of that plant. Choose it. Choose yourself.
Yeah. And so you mentioned you were growing your herbs and they were interested in the seeds that you were growing. Did you have it in soil, or like, what do you mean when you were putting it on the ground? Do you mean like you had the seeds already sprouted and where they forage in your home, you put it on the ground?
In different ways. Sometimes I'm giving the sprouted seeds, like I've got sprouted seeds in the kitchen, and sometimes I just put them on the soil. Right? I always buy soil without chemicals and all the stuff, just like bio eco soil. Sometimes I put wheat on the soil, and the wheat is growing on. It's like 7 days to grow a beautiful green. Something like this. So it's 7 days. It's not a long time. And sometimes I put even like raw grains, not soaked. But I know that they will not grow out. But I want parrots to just forage in them and look for something else maybe in there.
And speaking of the soil, do they ever eat the soil, or is it safe for them to be digging around in the soil?
That's their nature. A lot of birds just dig in the soil, and a lot of people ask me the same question, that the soil is dangerous. Okay, maybe if you buy a soil or the flour from the place that there is a lot of chemicals, because we put a lot of chemicals on the plant. It's normal for us. But if you want to have plants for our birds, this is very easy. You just buy a soil that is without chemicals. There is a lot of soils on the internet. You can just choose eco, bio, whatever. And those plants I'm giving them, I see that they are digging in the ground. Sometimes they even have that ground in their beak and just like nom. But they do not eat them. They're just playing. They're having fun. They just eat and maybe look for the ground, or maybe there will be some seed inside the ground. Because sometimes you have like more the soil is more like this. So the bird is just taking the just taking it and just chewing, but they don't eat that. Birds are not that stupid, I think. But I know that in the houses we make birds stupid. We make them stupid because I see this every day, every time, a lot. We are not giving them fruits like the whole fruit, because you have to be in pieces. Okay, it can be, but when you give a whole apple to the parrot, sometimes the parrot doesn't know what to do with this, and it can be a very easy way to forage, to play, to enjoy the environment. Sometimes sometimes we are too, I don't want to say safe. We are very scared of this. I see even when I give them like mountain ash, right? We collect mountain ash in the September probably. So I see a lot of people are scared. Oh, can I give it to the parrots? And when you see a lot of birds eating those fruits, wild fruits outside, you see that they are not harmful for them. A lot of our national birds eat those fruits. Of course, parrots are different. We always have to keep that in mind. But on the other hand, uh, this is a bird. Birds need to fly. Birds need to forage. Birds need to play. Birds dig in the ground. That's completely normal. And sometimes we are treating birds like in the glass box. You
Yeah.
can be like harmed by everything. Everything is, it can be harmful for them. And I see that a lot of things can be harmful for them. But when we are talking about nature, uh, we need to consider that this is animal from the nature, not from our
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
And this is the wild creature. So when we are not given the opportunities for those wild creatures and making them like disabled a little bit, because I had that experiment. I will say that it will be experiment. You know this plant fire thorn, and this fire thorn has spikes. So I just took the whole branch of this fire thorn and bring that to our home. And there was a lot of very big spikes in there, like in the roses, but a little bit bigger and stronger. So I was wondering,
This?
yes,
Okay.
that's exactly this. Yes. And I was standing just in case if any birds will get harmed. I was
Yeah.
standing and I was watching if any of these birds on my flock will harm themselves on those spikes. And what I saw, my Aria wanted to step on that branch and she saw that there is a spike. So she moved her leg out and then just choose another way. And when she saw that the spikes are can be harmful, she started to chew them out just to get to those fruits. So birds are very intelligent. We sometimes we don't know how much, and we have to give those opportunities for them. Of course, it's
Yeah.
very important to be careful, to watch them, to see if everything is okay, especially when we start to give new things or things that can be somehow harmful. But what I see from my experience, that birds, they are so smart. They can find the way to not get harmed. If they see that something can harm them, they start to think how to get rid of this.
Mm-hmm. I love
And
that. And you made a lot of really good points because at the end of the day, they are wild creatures. And I always say we want to do things as close to nature intended as possible and look at what are they doing in the wild and how can we mimic that in our homes. And you've done that really well and
yes,
also shared with us a lot of really great tips on how to do that. Um, when it comes to though, like, introducing, say, new herbs, new flowers, or even like the soil or fruits or vegetables or any foods that you're
mhm,
introducing, because, there are some foods that can be toxic to them. I always think that it is still a good idea, like before you give something new to your bird, Google, research, and see, like, is this something toxic?
yes,
Like, don't leave chocolate out on the table or avocados or something
yes,
like that because you don't want to take the chance that they might try it and then something's going to happen to them. So it's always good to proceed with caution and do your research,
mm,
and the things that they can have, like you said, offer it to them and they will find ways around it. Like you were
yes,
mentioning, there was thorns in this, It's something safe that I can give to them so that they can forage and try something new and explore. But you also were able to observe, like in real time, how smart they are because they saw the spikes. They know that this is, or the thorns, that those can harm them. So they started
Yes.
ripping them out so that they can get to the good stuff. So really great tips. Since we're on this topic, I saw that you also did a post on how to teach your parrot to forage, and how we talk about this all the time, how
Yes.
foraging is so important because it is something that parrots naturally do. And offering foraging opportunities is also a great way to stimulate their minds and offer them meals and food in different ways. So it keeps them busy, it keeps them engaged, they get excited.
Yes.
But sometimes when we bring a new bird home, they don't always know how to forage. And you talked about this in one of your posts. So can you share from your own personal experiences with your birds or with the consultations that you do, how can somebody teach their bird to forage?
The first question, how old is the parrot? Is the parrot alone? That's the first two questions. Oh, Carol just broke the swing he was sitting on.
Oh, Karolek.
You can hear him laughing.
Carol, we're laughing with you.
Oh, again, Carol, again. Those first two questions, how old is parrot? Because when a parrot is young, it's much, much easier. But when the parrot is old, like 5, 6 years old, it's so hard. And the second question is the parrot single or has another parrot in the flock? And mostly all my consultations, I've got single capped parrot, like 6, 7 or more years old. So I've got a lot to do. And I always say to my clients, you've got 2 ways. First way is to take another parrot and start to make this process again, like from the beginning. From the very, very beginning, just start to make this parrot a parrot with the help of the second parrot. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. It's depending on the situation of the bird. That's why we have these consultations. Sometimes bird is brave enough to be good to introduce to second parrot, but sometimes bird can be so scared of everything that I am saying that this is not good way to choose this way. And the second way is the middle way, as I'm saying, because this is not very popular, but sometimes I offer to clients that they can send the bird to my flock for like a month. I am calling this like some kind of rehab, and
Retreat.
they are on this rehab. Yes, it can be retreat. Yes. So they are here learning how to be parrot again, and then I am taking them to the client again. This is the way that a lot of people are scared of because they don't want to be separate with parrot. And I understand that, but sometimes I've got very difficult situations and very difficult parrots. And I am telling the truth that maybe you are like this owner, you will not be able to do this alone. I've got that very bad situation with one parrot. It was a 4-year-old African grey without any feathers, like only feathers she was having, it was like here. And she was naked without tail, flying wing, nothing. It was nothing there. And she was that scared that coming to the carton box that it was supposed to be a foraging box in future, she was scared of this carton box for months. So coming close to this carton box was too much for her. So I told that owner that it will be very, very hard way to make her a bird again. But this is not my choice. So the owner needs to decide if he wants to send the parrot to me for like a few weeks, month, it depends. And the third way is you have to be a parrot. If you don't have a parrot and you don't want to have a parrot, you have to be a parrot. That's a simple understanding. I always have this question, oh, my parrot doesn't want to eat fruits and veggies. But when I have my dinner, the parrot is wanting to my dinner. And I'm saying, you don't see the pattern? Like, the parrots are flock
They're
animals.
learning from you.
Yes, and the flock, if you are the part of the flock and you eat, so this is the food for the entire flock, right? It's the normal understanding for parrots. It's completely normal for parrots. And for us, it's just like, oh, you don't want to eat from this bowl. No, because it's not the bowl of the flock. You are the part of the flock, and you are very important part of the flock if you are alone with the birds. So you have to eat veggies, you have to eat fruits. Sometimes I'm saying it's very important to do your own toys, because when a parrot is watching how the toys are made, that the elements are safe, that you can have those elements in your hands and you manipulate them. The parrot is thinking, oh, you are playing. The parrot doesn't think that you are making this toy. You are playing with this. So making your own toys is very important for the parrot to understand that those kind of things are for play. But if you buy a toy from the shop and you just bring it home and just chew it to the cage, parrot doesn't know what is that. You didn't even have any interaction with this toy. So why you expect me to have those interactions, right?
Yeah.
So with everything we have with parrots, we always have to think that we are flock animals. If you do, I do. So so I think like maybe we just have to start from this with everything that we have with parrots. That we are flock. We are together.
I love that point, because that's actually something that I've done with Mia countless times. Every time I would get her like a new game where it's like a puzzle and she has to pull something out in order to get to the inside of where, you know, I've put like the treats or the flowers or the dried fruits and dried veggies, then I always the first thing that I usually do is I put it out so that she can see it. And sometimes she's really excited and she gets right into it. And other times she just looks at it, sometimes like for a week, sometimes for a month even. So I just leave it out and I let her get to the point where she's comfortable with it. But in the meantime, I also show her how to use it. So I find that a lot of times she uses it faster and gets more excited after she's seen me do it. So like there's this puzzle toy. Hold on, I'll bring it.
It's green with those red bugs?
Yes.
I saw it on Instagram.
Yeah, the bugging out toy. So this one, she was actually really like not enticed by it. Like she was looking at it from a distance for like a month. But I kept it out, and every so often I would move these around and I would show her how to use it. And I've done this with other foraging toys or foraging boxes that I got her. And this one took her the longest. But now I have to say that this one is her favorite. But what I did is I would show her that these move.
Yes,
and
how
she
it
would
works.
watch me open and close these. She would watch me slide these over. And over time, she flew over here and she literally, it's like she knew what to do. She started moving these around, getting everything that was inside. And this is one of her favorite toys now. But I've also gotten her these like boxes with lids, and she has to open the lid and then get what's inside. So at first she was looking at this like, what do you want me to do with it? So I would open and close it, and I would show her when I open it, I take the nut out. And then, you know, she learned by watching me that this is what I'm supposed to do with these toys. So I love those points. And foraging is really important, and providing those opportunities for our toys is really, or for our birds is really important. I wanted to loop back to hormones, because we were talking about hormones earlier, and then we jumped back to liver and diet and all that stuff. And we were talking about hormones, and I wanted to ask you about Fiona, because you mentioned that Fiona came to you, she was really hormonal, and she had an implant. And I've heard about these implants, especially for birds who get really amped up with their hormones. Now, if someone's listening and you're learning about hormones right now, Hormonal season usually happens in spring. It can also happen in fall. And hormones are also referred to as hormones because it's not the most pleasant time of the year. Probably
Oh
parrots
no.
hate this season because birds get a lot more aggressive. They get a lot territorial. And if they are in a mated pair, they can also lay eggs and start mating and things like that. So tell us a little bit about, like dealing with hormones, but I also want to know if these implants work. Like, did they help Fiona?
Yes. Yes, they work, but
Okay.
it depends on the individual, because the implant can work like 2 weeks or 6 months, so you don't know.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and implant is one thing, but the second thing, if you just put the implant into Parrot and just then bring them home and act the same as before implant, you're not doing good, right? Because we
Yeah.
have to change the environment. Implant is the last thing we had to do. If the parrot is very aggressive, very angry, very territorial, and we don't have any options to work with that parrot, then implant is needed. Right now, I've got that situation in my consult, because I've got one parakeet that is that aggressive that first is implant, and then we have these consultations, because Parrot right now is that aggressive that she made a nest in the fridge, so nobody can go to the fridge.
On top of the
Uh,
fridge.
uh, on the fridge and inside the fridge. When somebody opens the fridge, Parrot comes inside and just sit like on the nest on the cheese.
Oh my
And when
gosh.
the And when the fridge is closed, Parrot is sitting on the fridge and waiting for someone to open that fridge and attacking everyone
Who
coming
wants
to
to
the
eat?
fridge. So yes, so this situation needs implant. It's the first thing. We cannot work with Parrot in that state, because Parrot is not thinking clearly. Hormones are making Parrot frustrate, aggressive,
Yeah.
and any training in that time will be not that good as if we just try it with calmer Parrot after implant. So the first thing is implant, but also is the last thing. So at first, when somebody comes to me and saying, okay, my parrot is hormonal, right now I've got plenty of this. I didn't know that I will have that much of work in the season, hormonal season, but I'm really shocked how many people just don't know how to work with
Yeah.
parrots and doesn't know
Yeah.
how to act. And first thing we have to understand, hormonal season is a normal season.
Yeah.
Sexual behavior is a normal sexual behavior. Every healthy parrot has sexual behaviors. It's normal. So first of all, we have to accept that. I
Yeah.
know that it's not easy, but first thing, we just cannot make like with dogs or cats, just go to the surgery and then you have animal that have no hormonal issues at all. Never. No. Unfortunately, we don't have that. So we have to work with the environment before the hormonal season. And right now, I've got 3 hormonal birds at my home. Fiona, of course. But Fiona is not masturbating. Fiona is only screaming. In that way, just calling a partner. It's not that bad, because it's a Pionus parrot, so the scream is not bad, but it can be a long way, because she can scream like for half an hour and then stop, and again for half an hour. So I'm trying to make her activities, new activities. I'm waiting for new branches right now, so I hope it will help. So we have Fiona, we have Booba, and with Booba it's a very different situation here. I'm not sure if I am doing right, but from my experience with her, it works. So I keep that, because she is allowed here to have a nest in the closet. Because when I destroy that nest, she was worse, much worse. She was screaming, attacking. She was territorial. She was just like a little devil. And I realized, okay, maybe you need that nest. So I made small carton box in the closet. And now when she is like after the breakfast and after first playing in the flock, she wants to go to that nest. So I open the closet and she's coming to the closet and she sits there for an hour and then she comes out of the closet and it's just a perfect parrot again. So it took me a few years to make this strange kind of practice because I know that nesting is not good. Parrots should not have a nest, but sometimes nest helps. But it's a very, again, individual because some parrots are feeling this willing of having nest, and it's more important for anything. Like you can give foraging toys, you can give less food, you can make a lot of activities, but the parrot still want that nest. So I'm leaving this opportunity to my booba, and I left her this decision. If you want to go to that nest, all right, go sit there. I am not complaining. But we have a flock, so she's sitting there for an hour, and then, I really want to go back to the flock. Something is going on there in the flock. I don't want to sit here in the nest alone. So she is coming back to the flock. But I know that this practice would not work in the single capped parrot because single capped parrot doesn't have anything to do except being in the nest. My parrot has something to do. So I allowed her to have that nest for an hour in a day. But you see, every bird is different. So talking about hormones is right now the most interested topic I have. And I really want to make some research in this because when people says about this nesting and about this territorial behavior and so on, I see that we cannot make just one practice for them because it doesn't work. And Carol is the last hormonal bird in my home, and I've got the same situation here. He's masturbating, and okay, when he's doing this once a day, that's good. If you want to do this, it's hormonal season. Okay, I let him do this once a day in the morning. When he wakes up, it's the first thing he does.
I'm gonna just ask you to explain to anybody who's listening and doesn't know what a parrot masturbating looks like. Can you explain what does Carol do to do this act?
A lot of parrots just take toy, but Carol, for his life, he didn't have toys, so he has to work with this what he had, and he's just taking his one wing, put this wing in front of him, and starts to, yes, this hormonal dance, as we say. But yes, Carol is talking right now. He knows
we're talking about him.
Yeah. Yes. And one is just once a day I let him because I see that he's less nervous, less territorial, less aggressive. I know that helps. People do this too. But last year, hormonal season was very, very strange because he was masturbating like 7 times per day.
Oh my God.
So, yes, his wing was completely destroyed. Like he just destroyed all the flying feathers with his feet. And when he started to do this a lot and more, I realized, okay, that's not healthy. 7 times per day, it's not completely healthy. So I stopped touching him at all. Like I was not even going to his cage, only to change bowls, to change food. but I stopped going to his territorial area. I stopped touching him. I stopped even talking to him. I was just only singing sometimes and whistling, but it was like, 10-15 minutes per day, not like hours. And I see a lot of people sit hours and hours with his African grays, and there is a problem. And I see that African grays are very, very sensitive with those hormonal issues. When you touch the African gray in the hormonal season, they got very quickly horny, very quickly. So in the hormonal season, I touch Carol like, in the safe areas, but only 5 minutes per day.
Yeah.
I have this contact with him, but this is vocal contact. And I also realized that this vocal contact is more important than the physical one. But a lot of people think that this is the opposite way. If the parrot is tamed, it can be or she be touched everywhere, right? So this parrot is tamed. Yeah, it can be tamed. It's great, fantastic. But it's not great for this parrot because she trusts me very much. But I can do everything with her, and including hormonal stuff. So if I will not be careful with this, I can make a lot of damage to her behavior, right?
Right.
But parrot can also be close to you, not even with the physical touch. Like you see right now, I've got 6 birds. Any bird is sitting on my shoulder. I have none here, right? So somebody can say, there's no birds here. But my birds have better things to do than sitting on my shoulder. I always said that. Parrot sitting on the shoulder, it's not a happy parrot. It can be for a while, but parrots are not constructed to sit on the shoulders. They are constructed to fly, forage, play, have fun, and be active. So in the hormonal season, that's very important to not to touch parrots. You can make a very great relationships with them only by vocalizations. You can teach a parrot a new song in that time. You can teach parrot dance. You can I can show you. Bubahat. Good. Okay. Remember?
Oh, it's so cute.
And Carol started too. Oh. So we started to dance with Buba. And I saw that she's getting hormonal. I wanted her to be active in that close way. Like, okay, you are horny, you are excited. Maybe we can do something else than making eggs and nests. Like having fun. And that works with her. But this nest, she has that nest, and I am not hiding that information, but I'm also very aware that it will not work in homes of other people. I know that. So I'm not saying this out loud very often because I'm scared that maybe some people will just follow me in that way. That's why I'm saying that there's a different situation when you've got a flock. It's different work when you've got a flock, or it's different work when you've got a single capped parrot or even a pair. Because even in the pair, you think, oh, this parrot has this character, this personality. But when you bring other parrots to this pair, you will see that this parrot will have another feelings, another behaviors, maybe another personality. It's just like with people, right? You can just close 2 people in the elevator, right? The same species, small area, so it can be good, right? They can talk to each other. But what if one is from PO and one is from PiS? This Polish government I'm talking about right now. So it's PO and it's PiS. So they will not get along with each other, right? It can be the same with parrots. You can have the same species, but one can be more introvert, and the second one can be a brave, energetic bird. So you think, okay, they got those kind of personalities. But when you bring a third or fourth or 5 birds to them, you will see that they are so different. just like us, you can act differently when you are with your partner. You act in other way when you are with your family, with your friends from school, or maybe your friends from work. So you have a lot of personalities. You can just show them to other creatures, and parrots got the same. They can be like that in this with this parrot, but can be so much different with other parrots.
I think that those are all really important things. And when it comes to like the hormones, I know that this is something that's very difficult for a lot of people. And you touched on a lot of really good points, including that you need to also provide things for your bird to do other than get like, so wrapped up in the hormones. Like they need to have, mental stimulation and physical exercise and ways to exert that energy in another way, which brings me to your whole setup in your apartment. I know you've posted pictures on Instagram. You have a poop area on the floor. You've got tons of perches, tons of swings, tons of toys, and they just have like this paradise in your apartment, especially in your living room. Like there is just an infinite amount of things for them to do and places to hang out. So can you give us your tips of like, if you want to create this kind of bird paradise in your living room or in a bird room or in a specific area in your home, what are things that people should incorporate to make it as interactive, engaging, and fun for them as possible?
First, it depends on the bird species, because
Okay.
all I've got, the birds I've got, they've got the small tails, right? Jardines, African greys, and Pionus parrots, they've got small tails.
Okay.
So I can just make a lot of toys because their tails will not be destroyed. But if you've got macaw, conure, green cheeks, they've got longer tails, right? So
Yeah.
if you want to make some playground area, I always recommend to make some climb because birds can climb very well. And if you make just like a one wall for climbing only, it is very good for parrots with long tails. And again, species, right? If you've got cockatiels, rosellas, cockatoos, you make another playground than if you've got just like birds from South America, because cockatoos forage on the ground, cockatiels forage on the ground, rosellas and all the Australian birds, they forage on the ground. So I always says that if you see the parrot is foraging in the cage in some way, just make many ways. Just see what parrot is doing and then try to make more and more opportunities. We've got this like that.
I love it.
I still think that there is not enough toys. Yeah.
There's like
And
87 toys.
no, I really think right now there's empty here because I want branches. I want fresh branches, fresh willow, fresh birch. Then it can be parrot paradise. Right now it's just like a good playground. It depends on the parrot. Again, my Buba, as I said, she doesn't have a part of her leg. So all the playgrounds I was making, they were just on the tables, on the closets. They are still not anything is moving, like any swings and any toys, because it was better for her. She was laying on the back and then she was playing with something. So she has that kind of playgrounds. My boys, as I said, they are monkeys, typhoid cockroach. So they need a lot of to hang, to destroy, to chew, to climb. They love it, and the I think I use a lot of corkwood because corkwood is amazing. I really love corkwood. But I also have pine cones and a lot of different cones in different sizes. Yeah, wood, a lot of wood, a lot of paper, zigzag paper, or cleaner, willow, yeah, wicker, and a lot of wicker.
Oh yeah,
wicker things.
yeah. Yeah, that's great
Yes.
too. Yeah, I
And
also like hanging up like a lot of ropes, like sisal rope or like, different types of,
mhm,
yeah, different types of toys.
but I've got a problem with those long nails of my parrots. So I decided not to make ropes. I switched to perches, and now I've got like
I
three
love the
three big
purchase
perches hanging on the ceiling. Yes, and this is great because I just took them from from the ground. Like I didn't bought them. I just found them and I
from the
realized, oh,
outdoors.
they're looking, yes, they're looking great. I wanna try them. Of course it's safe wood. Of
Yeah.
course I clean that. But they are very, very great right now. I think that
Yeah.
maybe I will change one of them in the season. But only that's why, because parrots just almost eat that
Yeah, they
perch.
destroy it. But if anybody is listening, please remember that if you're going to take branches or wood from the outdoors, it has to be safe wood that's safe for your birds, and it has to be cleaned properly before you introduce it into your bird's environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. I love all this stuff. We're going to wrap up very soon because we're just having so much fun. Before I ask my last few questions, let everybody know
Yes.
how they can find you, how they can find you on social media, and if they were interested in doing consultations with you, how they can find you.
Oh, so we've got this Parrot disaster page. This is the page of our vlog when I share our life in this personal life. And we are on the Facebook and Instagram. And there is another page, Master of Parrot Disaster, that it's only me and me saying smart stuff about parrots. And this is the account. Yes, this is the account when you can ask for consultations or ask for anything you've got problem with. And then this is also on Facebook and Instagram. Then we are on YouTube. This is YouTube called Parrot Planet. And there I do many stuff there. We just try different products, we test them, we are talking about behavior, we are talking about training, about diet. We have this Parrot Kitchen playlist. And we have also what I'm proud of, to playlist with conversations, with interviews with doctors or behaviorists and with the owners.
I also want to quickly mention, earlier we were talking about liver and you mentioned milk thistle and these vitamin drops and all these different things. For anybody who is listening, just in case, always first go see your avian vet to make sure
Oh,
that,
yes,
the
yes, yes.
dosages and everything that you're providing or giving your parrot are the right things specifically for what their bodies need. So don't just go giving your bird, milk thistle or, certain
For
types
whole the
of,
life, yes,
yeah,
yes.
make sure you check with an avian vet. Um, I also wanted to ask you in regards to your consultations, what is the most common problem that you find people have with their birds? Like, what is the top two, like number one and number two issues or problems that people book consultations with you about?
The first and main problem is disturbed flock structure. Parents can be owners can be parents, but also the parrot can have this concept. Oh, you're touching me there and there, so maybe we are like partners. So
Yeah.
right now in the hormonal season, the biggest issue is this disturbed flock construct because parrot doesn't know what is going on in the flock. Parrot doesn't understand what is this position in the flock. Parrot doesn't understand what the human wants from parrot, because once you touch the parrot, and second one you scream at the parrot, and the third one you close parrot in the cage and go out to do your job. So the parrot has many misconcepted information, and the parrot is getting frustrated and aggressive. And I'm not only talking about biting, but about this whole behavior. Parrot is
Got it.
frustrated, is very angry, and and it can be the biggest problem right now, because in hormonal season, this issue is going worse and worse and worse. If we are not following the rules how to behave in the hormonal season, we are just in the easiest way to go to the consult and to the psychologist, because a parrot doesn't know how to behave, what to do, what people want from me. And this type of aggression is the first thing I see. And right now on my consultations, the most seen birds are African greys, green chip connors, and I was shocked about green chip connors, really.
I'm
I got
shocked.
many people are with green chip connors. About aggression again, green chip connors are very aggressive during the hormonal season, very. And a lot of people doesn't know how to work with these birds, especially when they are so small. And when the bird is just doing something here, you are scared because you can hurt the parrots too right now. When you want to get rid of your head or your eyes or your mouth. And those birds with this small size can be very stressful because you don't know how to take this parrot away from you. It's easier with macaw. Just put your shoulder and macaw will fly away, or you can just put the macaw down. But with green chip connors, they're just like hanging on you. They are still there. So people don't know how to work with this.
Yeah.
And quacker parrots also. And of course, my favorite ones, Amazon parrots. They are my favorite aggressive birds. And I see that a lot of people call them aggressive birds. And sometimes I catch myself on this, that I call them aggressive on the Facebook group too. Of course, they are not aggressive, but they are too smart, too intelligent, and too emotional to be kept alone. And that's why they end up aggressive. And of course, in the hormonal season, aggressive Amazon parrot is like a flying devil that can hurt you very badly. Like I saw ears chewed up in the house, and people
Like
with
an ear
losing,
bit off?
yes, yes, or in pieces, or some lady I knew, she lost her feeling in the ear because nerves were destroyed. So Amazon parrots in the hormonal season, so they are that aggressive that I don't really I don't like working with Amazons really. I
Oh
love
my
them because
God.
they're so emotional, so smart, so intelligent, but they are also too smart. Like I see that they are just like selfish little creatures, that they are frustrated of everything people done to them, that they want to revenge. I see Amazons like that in the hormonal season very often. And when people send me videos or send me wounds after Amazon parrots, sometimes I'm in shock. Uh, and of course, it can be a parrot that you loves you for the whole year, and in the hormonal season, you just got the ear in the house, right?
Oh my
So
gosh, that's crazy. I had no idea that Amazons were that intense. And I think a
yes,
lot of like the conversations that we've had today, it also comes down to like specific species. Like different species of parrots are going to be a little bit different in their behaviors in
yes,
hormonal season, in the types of toys that they like, and so on and
yes,
so forth.
foraging,
So
yes, yes,
yeah, it's and even like the foraging behaviors, like it's different for every different species. And so that's why it always comes down to doing your research and really getting to
yes.
know the types of species that you want to have or that you already have at home. All right, we'll wrap things up, but I wanted to ask you two more questions. And the first one is, I know you have you have three different species at home, and you've worked with a lot of different species. You've worked with galahs and
Yes,
cockatoos and macaws and
yes.
conures, and you've got an African gray and Pionus and Jardines. And I wanted to know, can you tell us what is your favorite species of parrots? Do you have one?
Mm, yes, I have. Um, Yes, I had that luck that I could work with like 50 or more species of parrots. I met uh, almost 400 parrots in my life right now.
Wow.
So I have my favorite, and of course macaws. I really love macaws, and I am a macaw person. And in my life will be completed when I will have a macaw. Um, I've got one special macaw in my aviary when I was working, and I hope to adopt this macaw one perfect day. Of course, with this partner, two macaws, but one just stole my heart. And I feel macaws very very much. Like sometimes I'm calling myself like a human macaw because they are emotional. I'm emotional. I really understand what they are doing. Feel I feel and understand what they are thinking about. And I've got this only with macaws. When I see macaws' eyes, I know what is going on, and those birds are the easiest for me to work with. And of course, as
Interesting.
macaws, yeah, as macaws, as of course goes conures and green chip conures and so on, because they've got the but because they've got the same body language, but I'm not into colors and green chip colors. No, 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 no. I don't. I don't. I like big birds. I like big birds. And yes, all my bird lovers I've got in my aviary. It was only macaws only, and I I used to have like 6, 7 macaws on me, and just walking with them on the ivory, and I was like the queen of the birds.
Queen of the
I love.
macaws.
Yes, 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 yes. I never liked African greys and cockatoos
But
because
you
I
have
don't
an
understand
African
them.
gray.
Yeah, yeah, that's this accident. I didn't want that.
And because you have an African gray, I've heard that they're very dusty birds and they produce a lot of powder.
Yes,
Do
yes,
you find
yes,
that like Carol produces a lot of powder
yes,
compared to your other birds?
yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Carol is like walking
Dust.
walking dust or walking makeup. You wanna have a great skin, not flashy. Put African gray on your face. It will be perfect. So when you got African gray, and as of right now I've got the black blouse. If I put if I put Carol here, I would just get a white stain. So yes, and I don't like this dust. I'm not allergic, but if I have Carol near my face like for half an hour, it's not good for me. I don't like it, and I don't
Yeah.
like the body language. Cockatoos have black eyes, and I don't see anything in those black eyes. And in African Greys, I just see golden eye with this black dot, and I'm not. I just don't know if I will get bitten or not. This African
So it's
Grey
hard to
body.
read them because of their eyes.
Yes, the eyes in cockatoos, but African Greys are very very intelligent, but this intelligence with this relationships, like they can be angry with you, like the African grey can make something to just make you feel bad for a moment, and then it's okay. This mixed feelings they have sometimes,
Yeah.
and I had to learn how to see Carol and what is going on in his mind. I think I'm good right now with him, but it was very hard for me in the beginning because I always knew I don't want African Grey at my home. I've never wanted African Grey. So I've never even just put some effort to understand that body language because I knew that I will don't need that, right?
Oh
So
my gosh. I love their red tails. Does Carol
yeah,
talk a lot? Does he have really good talking abilities?
no,
No, he doesn't talk
not
a lot.
really. He talks, but not very much. Like for an African grey, it's not a lot. Um, as you see,
Oh my
and
gosh,
white.
what a difference. I can see all the dust on your black sweater.
And now
Holy
I
heck.
can tell you, 2 hours ago, he was bathing and all the dust was just thrown away. So this is after bathing him 2 hours ago. So just imagine, without bathing, I will be just white, just
Oh
completely
my
white.
gosh.
Uh,
That's
so
crazy.
uh, yeah, that's so important to bath your African greys and cockatoos. And I see a lot of people don't do this because, oh, my parrot is scared of water. Of course, it can be worked out, but the people don't bath. They are dusty parrots, and this is not good for your lungs, not good for parrot lungs, and not good for the everything because everything is white. So
All right, last question, and then we'll wrap things up because we've already been chatting for quite a long
yeah,
time. I know you've written a lot of books, and I saw that in your books, you
yeah,
also share some fun facts about parrots. Can you share like your favorite or most interesting fun facts about parrots that we might not know?
I think personally that cockatoos biting are the worst. I was bitten by many parrots, many. I know that the macaw bite is hard, but cockatoo bite is slightly different because cockatoo has these 3 points, one from the up and two from down. As you will see, the cockatoo beak, the lower mandible is into spikes, because it's the spikes,
Oh,
and that hurts much worse than the macaw biting. I think maybe maybe some people have another experience. Unfortunately, when I started working, I was bitten by macaws in the face, in the ear, and I also got the scar here because I've got this wound. I just want to say at the same ending that the relationship with parrots, it can be amazing. It can be because it's so much fun. They are fun birds. They are funny animals. They love to play. They love to be happy. They are made to be happy, as I see.
yeah.
So if we want to be happy with them, we have to work for this happiness, eat better, have this opportunity to make stuff together. It can be a really great adventure for the whole life. Birds live a lot
A long
of
time.
years. So yes, so you can make this whole life with the birds and make this beautiful relationship, friendship with birds. But it just took time, just like in a relationship with humans. You cannot have friends that you are not having time with. So if you want to have a parrot that will be your friend, just make this friendship, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast
Thank
and
you.
sharing all of this information with us, because I know that I learned quite a few things, and I'm sure everybody else will love this episode too.
Thank you for having me. It was my little dream to be here.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the Parrot Podcast. I'm your host, Sandra from Poodles and Parrots. I hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, have a clawsome day, and we'll see you in the next one. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. I'm not a licensed avian vet, behaviorist, or professional expert in parrots. The information provided is not intended as a substitute for professional advice from a qualified avian vet, trainer, or behaviorist. Please consult with a specialist for personalized guidance on your specific situation.